I love the house in Fata Morgana. From its mysterious aura to its cruel and beautiful moments. What a journey it was. I will never forget how it made me feel. How it goofballed me over and over again. Not one single thing of it was something I have seen before. Everything was so unique, original, romantic and blood gushing. It's like someone has painted on the canvas with their own blood and has created something unforgettable with it. And the art of the house in Fata Morgana applies to exactly that. So because of that, I will start talking about the following artwork from this suspense visual novel. At first, I will talk about the wife and the abusive husband. Just taking a glance at it makes it clear. You can see how furious the abusive husband is towards his wife. And the colors really complement that. The clothings of the abusive husband are all red, just like the background, the color of anger. And that creates a massive warmth-cold contrast towards the colors of his wife. The colors of the wife are so cold, they almost seem pale. But all of the colors of the wife are all wrapped up by the furious red color of the abusive husband. Not only do the colors speak their language, the pose does as well. You can see how the overarching body of the abusive husband just scratches throughout the picture, taking up so much space, it really shows his aggression. We also have the very open body to talk about, the hand that grabs the hair of the wife and the other hand that forms a fist. In comparison, the pose of the wife is in an almost opposite state, where she's very defensive. Just everything in this picture just enhances the fury, aggression and emotions of the abusive husband. Even though this illustration is so powerful and energetic, it's just still so sad, to say the least. Just one glance at the wife and you feel the empathy towards her. But this is not the only illustration of Fata Morgana that I want to talk about today. So let's continue with the next one. This is the arrivement of a demon. A painting that could be straight out of the Romantic era, where landscapes and human emotions were greatly combined with a rich color palette and carefully placed glow. But let's focus on the two characters depicted here. Here we have two opposite ends again in terms of contrast. On the left we have a maid, and her facial expression tells stories. Is it surprise or another strong reaction? Her body language depicts her as moving away, moving out from a demon's way. And while not only that, she moves there with shade covering up her body. And on the opposite hand we have the demon approaching the woman with so much bravery and so much grace. He is fully moving in the light, with his hair glowing and shining through the painting and beyond. It really makes you question what happens next after the events of the painting. It's just such an intriguing picture, and one of my favorites among this visual novel. Well, who knows what must have happened to make him react like in the following illustration. We don't even have a contrast here anymore, just pure cold. But even so, we still have one depicting glowing color striking to the viewer. The eyes of the demon, just purely gazing at the maid with murderous intent. What also elevates the dark atmosphere is the color source coming from beneath. That is a color source placement that is usually used in a lot of horror media, because that makes the shades in the face very unnatural in comparison to the light source from above, like a sun. The textures of the painting also is a lot more dirty than the ones before, which is giving this painting a very gritty look. Also, a tiny detail that I really want to appreciate here is the use of reflection, like in the eyes of the maid. Because when you look closer, you can see the red pupils from the demon reflecting in the maid's eyes, which is everything she's focused on. All she sees is the murderous intent of the demon. The places are switched though in the next artwork. There we have a different woman tormenting the demon. Her face almost doesn't look like that of a human, but a mannequin. In a lot of Japanese media, mannequins are portrayed as horror items in a lot of horror movies and different forms of horror stories, which Fata Morgana is no exception for. The face of the demon just portrays pure despair and horror, the complete opposite of what we've seen before, where he appeared with so much grace and so much bravery. The used media in this painting definitely is different from what we've seen before, where it almost seems like a pencil has been used for this painting. The different tones of colors definitely don't look like they're made from a pencil though, so I'm really interested in what the process of this painting and artwork was. And the reaching hand just shows what it wants. It wants even worse than whatever has happened in the events of this artwork. The last painting of today is not going to be as negative as the ones before, but rather romantic and peaceful. There we have the maid again with a flower in her hair. She looks rather surprised. But let's focus on the colors first, because this one is very different from the others, because this has a very harmonic contrast. In the background we have two different color halves, with the left one being orange and the right one being dark green. This is called an analogous contrast and stands for harmony. You can also see the colors being reflected in the maid's hair. I really like the use of reflection in all of Fata Morgana's artworks. Another interesting choice of colors is the rose being dark red, being on the right side with the green background, which goes back to the analogous contrast and just layers over the harmony that has already been given there. But who could the person be who gave the maid a flower? That is giving the painting more questions on second glance once you notice the hand, especially considering the maid's expression, but other than in the different paintings I just can't feel a bad feeling coming out of her, just surprise, loving surprise. It is a very comforting painting which I can get never enough of looking at. It's just so warm and embracing. I will never see anything like the house in Fata Morgana ever again, and I never will. Thank you, Novak, for creating this outstanding masterpiece. I will never forget it. But for now I will say farewell, until our souls cross paths once more in the boundless sphere of fate.